Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Phil here with another episode of the Music Breakdown, where I do one-take vocal analysis of live performances. One-take studio performances is what I specialize in because I feel that gives the viewer the best idea of what is expected and required for these live performances. Studio recordings are great, but they're a lot like feature films. They have a lot of bells and whistles and can be distracting from the actual vocal performance itself. This is why I love watching live performances and one-take vocal playthroughs, because they provide a much more accurate picture of what singers and performers must do in order to perform at a high level. And this is no exception. Today, I have the honor and privilege of breaking down Spiritbox's Soft Spine, the live performance they did on Jimmy Kimmel Live recently. Yes, I'm back to Spiritbox again. I know it seems like I'm recycling the same artists over and over again, but it's because they're so good. And I'm going to be doing other ones outside the metal genre as well. But without further ado, everybody, let's get into it and see Anthony Anderson's beautiful face here. Look at that. Here we go. Spiritbox, Soft Spine. Let's break it down.
Their album is called Tsunami Sea. Here with the song Soft Spine, Spiritbox.
All right. Black and white. Cool. Never heard the song before, by the way. I'm familiar with Spiritbox, but not with all of their music. Ooh, drop F sharp.
You will deserve each other!
Whoa! Right out the gate. Smiling. Oh, that gives me wow, okay. All right, so this is a breakdown video. I'm going to be pausing a lot because I always get those bots and trolls or whatever saying, "Why are you pausing it?" Because this is not the original song. The original song is in the description down below. You want to watch that? Go for it. Here, I'm going to be showing you what she's doing vocally, do my best to demonstrate it, and hopefully you'll walk away from this vocal reaction with a little bit more knowledge on how the voice works and how she's able to do what she's doing. So that way you can apply it in your own practice or just enjoy what you're hearing with a little bit more knowledge of what's happening. So, I know this is a segue. That sounds a lot like more human than human. Nod to Zombie right there. Yes, but let's listen to what she's doing specifically in this part coming up here. All right, and I'm not sure what the lyrics are, so you're going to have to forgive me here. Maybe I should pull them up before I do this, but she's doing this thing with the voice, where she's throwing the phonation of her vocal folds, doing da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and then adding the distortion on the top. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. This is a very common technique with vocalists who are looking for a break in their distortion or to provide enhancement to a certain line, provide emphasis on a certain line, to go clean for just a moment at a lower note in their phonation and then go right back up to the top. That's what she's doing here with this, with these lines. And it sounds like her phonation is anywhere between, it floats around. It's not just stuck at one place. It's anywhere between, let's see if, my piano's not on. Why is my piano not on? That's why the piano's not on, because I sleep. Now it's on. All right. It's anywhere between, like, it sounds like it's floating between a B flat 4 and a C5. So, right around there. Now it's gonna float in this area because it's not precise. It's about a relative area rather than hitting a one note and staying on it with extreme vocals. It's more of a relative platform that she is staying at here. And then just slightly changing pitch in her phonation to support that upward movement into the extreme. Effortless. Now, and then she's going just ever so slightly down in her phonation right down here to a G4, between a G4 and a B4. And she's also passing her lips to make it sound a little lower. There's a bit of a mirage audibly there with extreme vocals where when that's done, it sounds lower than it actually is in the vocal folds. That is a common misconception. A lot of beginner screamers think they have to do this to sound low. That's not necessarily the case. You want to create air pressure with a comfortable phonation behind all the distortion. This is setting up the platform for power behind the scream. Here's an example. Now that's a false chord scream. Mostly what she's doing here sounds like Fry to me. It may not be the case because her voice is obviously higher in range than mine. So I would have to ask her what she's doing, and maybe someday I'll have a chance to do so. But until then, just know that the notes, what she's doing with her vocal folds, is in a relatively comfortable range for her, and would be comfortable for a female singer in general, and that the lowness is determined by the way she's shaping her face, or the perceived lowness. So let's keep going. Now, she's smiling. That's crazy. Nice. Whew. All right, so something that I've also noticed with a lot of other extreme vocalists is that when they sing their cleans, which is not happening in this is very dirty and in your face, is that the jaw movement will become way faster. The attack will become way faster with this piece of equipment when they're doing extreme vocals as opposed to cleans. This is much smoother when you try to do cleans. So you might have fast movement here in the mouth, but the jaw is really nice and smooth to create a nice channel between what's happening here and what's happening here. But when you start to move this a little bit faster, you see that the distortion is a lot easier to create. So you'll notice that with a lot of extreme vocalists, especially ones that go back and forth between clean and extreme, is that the jaw movement, though it is not a causation, there is a correlation with faster jaw movement and distortion and slower jaw movement and clean execution. Remember that as a guideline. This is not the be-all, end-all. It's not like the jaw is going to determine whether or not you distort. There's a lot more going on with it, but it is an indicator. Keep that in mind. Let's go. Whew. There she is with that. Again. Right. Okay, so like that last one there, that it's almost breaking into a head voice there. It's like an that's what's happening in that part right there. So if you feel that your scream is breaking into another register, good. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Screaming in head voice is possible. Like taking something like that can act as a really healthy base for extreme vocals. Keep that in mind. Yeah, nice. Look at that smile. She's having a blast. That's great. Effortless. Attitude and effortlessness. That is a heck of an outfit, too. Jeez Louise.
Your God will start you when you die!
Wow. Oh, gosh. What? That is like, wow. That's like a banshee scream there. Wow. Like, ow! Wow! Like she is way, way up there, just losing it. That's like a tea kettle scream. If you've ever seen Will Ramos do his tea kettle screams in the Charismatic Voices breakdown of his vocalization in the first thing where they put the camera down his nose, it sounds like that. Wow. Yeesh. Jeez Louise. Oh, lots of twisting going on there, but it looks like she's not even breaking a sweat. Wow! And it sounds like now she's in that sort of M2 head voice area in the background there. And she's still switching back and forth. Wow. Okay, so let's talk about the main takeaways from this live performance of Soft Spine by Spiritbox. Extreme to the core the entire time. No switching into cleans whatsoever. It was very in your face, punch you right in the nose. And let's talk about the consistency of her voice. She was somewhere in this range the entire time and using this switching back and forth between a high clean tone and then going into an extreme vocal with a higher note on top of that. So sliding into it every time. And that was very consistent throughout this performance here, and a great tool for using a platform in your actual phonation of the vocal folds as a foundation for what you're doing, especially through a song like this that requires such extremes. Having some consistency in your actual vocal fold phonation and staying within a healthy vocal range will help you produce the extreme tones over and over and over again without fatiguing too quickly. And this is a perfect example of that with Soft Spine. She broke into M2, it sounded like there. That breaking into that is totally fine and actually called for and can preserve the health of the voice with as a base for extreme vocals. False chord can be a little bit more vocally taxing and is something that you want to consider, especially when you're building and creating your music and performing in this type of style. That head voice is an M2. It is not something that is untouchable or like, oh, it's not cool. No, it's super cool and acts as a basis for fry screaming on a regular basis and should be considered, especially when you're doing this type of vocalization. If you want to go for something that is relatively safe, this stuff can be dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. But using that as a base can be relatively safe when you're going down this pathway. So just something to keep in mind. The one and last thing that I want to go over with this performance is how effortless it looks. She looks like she's on vacation. smiling with a margarita in her hand. That's all that's missing. There's beach stuff happening in the background, for goodness sake. If you look back at the video, she is totally relaxed, active, moving around, using her muscles, but there is no strain that is happening. She is distributing the energy of her performance masterfully. And if there's anything that I want you to take away from this performance is the consistency of her tone and the mastery of her movement of her body. She is not tensing up at all throughout this performance. And that is such a key thing when you're up on the stage, no matter what the genre. So everybody, thank you so much for tuning into my vocal breakdown of Soft Spine by Spiritbox for the Jimmy Kimmel live performance. I hope that you found this useful. I'm doing these videos because I have been a performer for over 2 decades and have been doing this full time since 2012. I'm in a band called Small Town Titans. We're gonna be playing at Louder Than Life this year. We're headlining stage numero 5 on September 20th. So go check that out. The link is up here to get tickets for that. And if you have any questions or comments about this breakdown, please let me know in the description down below. Not the description, the comments. How long have I been doing this? I'm a little rusty, people. So like and subscribe if you want more of these vocal breakdowns. I am expanding my genres. I might be even expanding into voice acting because I do that too. I'm an audiobook narrator. I can't pick what I love to do because I love doing too many things. And it all boils down to helping people tell their stories and telling my own stories and making a lot of noise while doing it. So that opens up the door to a ton of things, and I want to open up that world to you by continuing to provide these vocal analysis videos and breakdowns for educational and informational purposes. So thank you for watching. Again, my name is Phillip Nathaniel Freeman. I will see you in the next video. Peace!